Peace to you, peace to the room, peace to everybody joining the space. I'm Eve. I'm just Eve. Tonight, I had a thought about a conversation that we could have. Maybe you wanted to participate. I don't know. I don't really want to stay here long, but I did think that tonight was a good time to start the discussion about the math. Because haven't y'all been hearing it lately? Haven't you been hearing the math ain't mathin'? I've been seeing it all over. Actually, ever since we dropped our most recent merch, have I been seeing it on the daily? The math ain't mathin'. Literally everyone and their mother is saying this phrase. It's actually been bastardized already from the Democrats to people who think that their check should be bigger. People are saying they don't understand why certain things are equaling out to the wrong answer. The math ain't mathin'. I've said it before and I'll say it again. The math will start to math when they cut the check, right? But let's start with the Democrats. These bastards said the math wasn't mathin' with regards to Biden being impeachable. I went to go post this article. I don't know why it was glitching, but I'll try to post it in Jumbo later for you. But yes, they said that Biden being impeachable, that math wasn't mathing. Tonight, some stuff is not going to math, but some stuff, the math is indeed going to work. Like Joe Biden being impeachable. How? Because my real question about this is how many times do you get to say you forgot you were president before people start to second and third guess their vote to put you there? I know that there are people out there who really feel some kind of way about voting for you, and you're out here telling everybody you forgot you were president. I mean, that seems impeachable, but maybe that's not enough. How many times do you get to wave at imaginary people? Like, how many times have you seen him do that? Because I've seen it more than, I think, 5 times. How many times does Biden get to make us look stupid on the world stage before he becomes impeachable? Now, those might not be crimes, right? Because I get it. You actually have to commit some crimes. As of 2023, 3 U.S. presidents have been impeached. So you've got Andrew Johnson back in the day, Bill Clinton, and Donald Trump. Donald Trump actually he was impeached twice during that one term, but nobody's been removed from office, and I think that's okay. I do think that it's a process that needs to be started, or at least it's a process that shows that I'm white and I say so really means something here in this country. Because really, if you didn't know, it's all of these hoops and ladders that you have to go through and up and over and around in order to actually start the impeachment process, from the House of Representatives with a formal inquiry all the way through to a formal vote. And being formally impeached doesn't even mean you're not president anymore. Like, I learned all of this when Bill Clinton was impeached, but maybe you guys knew about this longer than me. That's cool. Maybe you didn't know about it at all and you're learning about it tonight. I suggest you become familiar with Google. It is your friend. If you are unfamiliar with some of the stuff I'm talking about tonight, nobody's stopping you from doing the research on your own. This is just some research that I've done tonight because, the math wasn't mathing. So it is in our best interest to do some research when things are just not adding up. So again, with regards to the Democrats saying that Joe Biden being impeachable, that math wasn't mathing to them, I just think that we need to expand the definition of what a crime looks like. I think it's a crime to make us look stupid on the world stage. People start treating us stupid and funny style because they don't like how our president is acting, or they just don't take him seriously. That shouldn't that be treasonous? If our president is not being taken seriously, then the rest of the world is not going to take us seriously. That's what that seems like to me, but those are just my thoughts. um Outside of the 8 people that Congress has removed from office, none of them have been presidents. But I do think that we could, get started. Why did it take all the way till now for Congress to see that Joe Biden is a problem for us? But, um, sometimes the math takes a little while for other people to catch up on what's going down. I wanted you to hear this woman talking about the math not math. And let me see if I can get this to play. If I can, that would be pretty cool. And if I can't, then you're just gonna have to believe me when I tell you that Jasmine Crockett out of Texas really made me feel some kind of way when she said that the math wasn't math. And can you hear this?
Say the math ain't math, especially when you consider the fact that the previous speaker, and who knows how many speakers we're going to have. I mean, some people are optimistic that, this is only going to be the second one. We'll see if we end up with another speaker before the 118th is over. But we know that the previous speaker said, oh, no, we don't need a vote. We don't need a vote on the impeachment inquiry. So now, all of a sudden, you do need a vote? Tell me what's changed. Nothing has changed. The only thing that y'all have done is that you've invited and then uninvited and then invited back, and I don't really know where.
Okay, that's Jasmine Crockett talking about the math ain't math. And don't you love when they have to kind of feign woke and then show everybody that they've got their black scent on and they can speak to the masses, and she's talking about how the math ain't mathin', but really what the fuck is she talking about? Did y'all hear it? Let me just play it one more time because maybe I missed it. I
say the math ain't math, especially when you consider the fact that the previous speaker, and who knows how many speakers we're going to have. I mean, some people are optimistic that, this is only going to be the second one. We'll see if we end up with another speaker before the 118th is over. But we know that the previous speaker said, oh, no, we don't need a vote. We don't need a vote on the impeachment inquiry. So now, all of a sudden, you do need a vote? Tell me.
I'm sorry, Miss Jasmine Crockett. I must have fallen asleep during social studies in grade school or at some formidable age group where I thought that everybody had to go with the same rules. At least with what I've been looking up with this impeachment, and I'm cool, y'all. I might not know as much as needs to be known about somebody getting impeached, but it didn't seem like you needed a vote for this first part to get started. And now if they are saying that you needed a vote, it just every time there's a loophole, it just sounds like some I'm white and I say so. And to me, it just seems a lot easier to just throw it all in the same category of these white people are never following the rules that they put on us. And then when they say that there's another rule that nobody knew about, well, it just seems like we should stop looking at them as the example and start making our own rules. Again, how many times do you get to make us look stupid? Is somebody going to be able to step in and say that enough is enough? Like, okay, oh Biden, you don't get to continue to embarrass us. Like, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to have a president who waves at imaginary people. It's embarrassing to have a president who salutes people who are not supposed to be saluted. I don't know all the different salutes that you're supposed to do, but god damn it, somebody's supposed to be there at the other end of the salute, right? Like, it's just not, okay. The math ain't mathin', y'all. What's something else the math's not mathin' with? I think that the math is not mathin'. If the Democrats really wanted to talk about the math ain't mathin', or the Republicans or anybody in political office wants to talk about the math ain't mathin', they would talk about how the Democrats are spending right now. Like, that math isn't mathin'. I started looking up how much money is spent this year, just in 2023, on Israel, on Ukraine, on illegals. And look, I hate these numbers. In 2016, OFAGA said that they being us, we were going to give Israel $38 billion over the next 10 years. So it's like $3.8 billion a year until 2026. So that's a significant change, amount of money. I think that even more significant is the $113 billion that Ukraine got this year. And the number that I got that from an article from CNN from September. September, y'all. So actually, they have probably spent more than $113 billion, but that's not where we're going to end. Let's talk about the illegals who aren't even supposed to be here. They cost the country roughly $150 billion. I got this number from the Federation for American Immigration Reform. But then on that same website, they talk about how it could cost up to $451 billion to house them. So here we go. The math ain't mathin' just with these two numbers, 150 billion for these illegals or 451 billion. How much does it really cost us to deal with people who are not even supposed to be here? If y'all add up all of that money, that's like $567 billion, which I think is an excellent start when they keep telling us that they don't have the money to pay reparations. They keep telling us they can't. They keep telling us they don't have it. But I say the math ain't mathin'. Like, if you just kept all of those monies that I just told you about, just from those three things, from Israel, why do they need our money? Ukraine, they don't need our money either. And illegals, they're not even supposed to be here. I mean, am I tripping? I know it's not a lot of us in this room tonight, but can somebody just make me feel less crazy? Does it make sense for those three big ticket items to be top priority, or should the niggas who've been here since the foundation of the country should maybe we get some attention, some resources, some economics to make things make sense? We can make the math when they cut the check. But right now they want to pay everybody else. At least that's what we keep seeing. Another thing that I saw over the past week with regards to the math, not math, and Taraji. Did y'all hear her? Did y'all hear Taraji? Oh, if you didn't hear her, I'm gonna let you hear her because man, everybody and they mama is talking about the math, not mathin'. And I'm just like, why do y'all come in our spaces and listen to us talk and then you don't even want to give us credit for where you're getting this stuff from? And while, we talked about this the other day, shout out to my homeboy, my brother Tawan, about ego. It's not about me as much as it's damn, like they are not even holding back. They are going full steam ahead with making use of our terms, our lingo, and they want everybody to kind of feign this woke. Everybody's going to be woke in the same fucked up way. And, when we're all talking about the math, not mathin', but it's not talking about reparations or what we're owed, or we're talking about some selfishness, some my check should have been bigger, but I signed with Oprah. Like, come on, that math ain't mathin' off rip. You knew who you were working with. Okay, but that's just my preliminary thoughts on the matter. Peace to my brother Dwan. Welcome to the stage.
What's up?
What's going on?
Um, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. I wanted to talk about Taraji today on my show. I did not get around to her. But the whole math thing and not math thing when it comes to Hollywood, this has been an issue with black actors and actresses from its inception. And when Monique tried to bring this up, people didn't rally with her. They spent more time talking about her delivery and whatever else. And I remember at that time, I've never been a Monique fan. Still not. She never was really. No, she's not my style of funny. I like that show that she used to do for a little bit because she's had dope interviews. But I would fast forward past her monologue because that's back when she was still had to wait on her, and she always had her arms out, and every time she clapped, her arms like choir robes, all that shaking up under her elbows. That shit was weird. So I never really fucked with her like that. But I was able to appreciate her when she started when she stood for something, when she was talking about the money thing issue. But people didn't stand with her. Everybody kind of went their own way, you know. And now
Yeah,
Taraji,
they really did too, Dwan. You think it's
huh?
because well, you think it's because of
What
what
they?
you just said? You think it's because it was like Fat Monique versus Fit Monique?
Well, the issue was it was they were like it was her delivery. They were mad because she's obnoxious and you know what I mean? And and she doesn't have the best reputation, from people. So they were attacking the messenger and not listening to the message. The common mistake most people make. everyone's always focused on the messenger, and no one gets the message. You know, and then but you see how it's the whole how it's happening with them. And the Taraji is complaining, Terrence Howard is complaining. It's that whole Oprah Lee Daniels crew. You see that other boy Billy Porter talking about he couldn't afford his bill after the strike, and he's having to get kicked out of his place. It seems as if the math ain't mathing for all these people who create these booty busting weird ass roles. I love Taraji, but look at most of her roles. Usually, when you see she's gonna be in a movie, it's about to make black people look fucked up. You know what I mean? And that's no disrespect to her, Monique. She complained about it. What was Precious making black people look fucked up? Terrence Howard, Hustle and Flow, talking about he only got $12,000, but in a horrible ass movie that made niggas look what fucked up. So on one hand, you see how much money they make off us and don't pay us, and complain about people not complaining about not getting paid. But also look at who's complaining about not getting paid. People that done took roles that basically made us look like some bullshit. And so from Terrence Howard on down, and he did some better stuff. But a lot of his roles, this is like you in what's her name, Taraji. And so it's like, so you started to see, it's like in some areas of math is mathing. The people who taking these dime a dozen ass roles are only getting paid a dime. So on one hand they complain about it, but on the other hand, the people that's complaining, they're taking these dime a dozen ass roles. And so, but yeah, that's why I wanted. That was my initial thoughts on the Taraji thing. On one hand, we see what's going on, we see the money that we generate, we see the money that's out there. We don't get paid, but the main ones complaining about not getting paid is kind of they've taken a bunch of bullshit ass roles and make it look like the bullshit ass people. So on one hand, I'm like, hey, you took a low vibrational role, you got low vibrational dollars in exchange. I call that in some ways kind of even. I don't want to see a motherfucker be the richest nigga in Hollywood, and every goddamn role they take in some role making us look like looking like some depraved bullshit ass people. We already got enough Oprahs that are rich off our plate. So well, I don't want to get too far off subject when it comes to that. So that's my initial thoughts when it comes to Taraji. And I'm gonna get to some of your political stuff, but I forgot. So I'm gonna shut up.
Nah, that's real. That thank you for that point, Dewan. What she said, it relates to what you were just talking about to the room. I'm gonna tell you what Taraji said. I couldn't find the clip, so you're just gonna have to deal with me saying it. She said, "I'm just tired of working so hard, being gracious at what I do, getting paid a fraction of the cost." All right, so just right there, how gracious do you have to be to play, somebody who's, not necessarily, the brightest bulb in our community? If you're playing some low energy, I'm sorry, how much grace did you need to play Cookie? Like, can we be honest? Or is that not fair? Okay, I'm not saying she's not a great actress. She's actually from, we're from the same place. I have a lot of respect for people who are from where I'm from and are able to uh, work and make it to where they are. But if you're working with people who are notoriously known for not doing what it is that you're complaining about, like, that math actually maths, like what Dwan was talking about. You knew who you were signing up with. You knew who you were getting into bed with. And then now you're mad that you didn't get what you were owed, or that you're not getting what you feel like you're deserving. And that's not fair, that you are having second thoughts. Well, I guess it's okay to have second thoughts, but you can't expect us to rally behind you when we know the person that you got into bed with, and then you're gonna act like you didn't know. Dwan, our negotiation skills as a people suck. Would you agree or disagree?
Hell yeah, our negotiation skills with people suck. And part of it, a major reason is we as a people, culturally, we don't feel deserving. We don't feel our worth game is real low, our self worth game. And we really lowball ourselves. And you'll notice that when you see a black person that does get their worth, Black people be the main ones to be the first ones to criticize them. Listen to black sports fans, these niggas. First thing they talk about is how much a player is getting paid. It's like we the most pocket watching this ass people on one hand, and on the other hand, when it's our turn to get up, it's like we have this inferiority thing, and so we're dealing with that off top. And that's some shit that was, beat into us during slavery. So I have compassion for it on one hand. On the other hand, that's what, and they understand we see ourselves this way. So we come in the door, behind the eight ball. And then they play that whole game. And in the interview, Taraji says they always come back to black folks. Well, black people don't sell internationally. She said that in the interview, and then she says more like, I see, and I hear what she's saying. She talks about expenses. When you're on a TV show, you get taxed the same way you and I get taxed for jobs. Like people who work TV shows, like she did that show Empire, you got to realize they work Monday through Friday. They have table read. They have table read on Monday, rehearsal on Tuesday, Wednesday is run through, and they film Thursday and Friday, and they work 8 to 5, like the same way we all work. And some days they may have, if it's a filming day, especially if they have a live audience. So the filming days, shooting days may be 10 to 14 hours sometimes, and they have to be on set, and then they get weekend, Saturday, Sunday off. They get a lunch break, and they also get like, so they really work a job, when they're on this stuff, and they get taxed like they do with a job where Uncle Sam gets their money first, and then in order to stay on TV, you need trainers. Trainers aren't, to stay in shape. They're not cheap, especially with them knowing you on TV. You got, the way the places you eat are going to be different. They're not eating at Denny's. You dig? And so, in them restaurants right around the studios here in LA, I've eaten at a lot of them. You go to some of these restaurants on Ventura at 7 o'clock. You're going to see whole crews. You're going to see everybody that you wanted to meet in your life just chilling. And those bills come to about $600 at the end of the night. So you got that as far as lifestyle goes. You do need a crew because you can't be the one directly talking to everybody, getting things done. You need that stylist because when you show up on set, you know what I mean? When you show up certain places, they make at a commercial, whoever's there, now you got to have your own. You know what I mean? You got so their expenses are like crazy to be an actor, and those expenses are the same across the board. Whether you're pulling in $500,000 for the season or $6 million for the season. Those base level expenses are the same. And so she's complaining that she's seeing all that with the with the whole math part and what she's going through. But at the same time, like you just said, Eve, you're dealing with someone who traditionally is fucked over other black people and your negotiation skills. Like, how to use Taraji, the lady who did Baby Boy. I don't even like Baby Boy, but that's a legendary movie, whether you like it or not. I personally don't like it because I grew up in South Central and I never could stand hood chicks like that because they always got niggas shot. And I didn't want to deal with them kind of hoes when I was at that age. So I hated Baby Boy. But at the end of the day, they are, that's a real fucking story. And she carried that out. 23 years ago, the movie's still around, like she's still relevant from other roles that she did. And she said that she has to start at the beginning every negotiation. Yes, in some ways, the way they perceive black folks, that's true. But when you have the right representation and you understand your worth, you're still going to get paid. I know enough people who do. But it comes down to the one, first off, you got to know your worth. You got to have gotten past that whole white supremacist shit that keeps us locked down in your mind, your own mind. And can't nobody help you do that but you and a fucking therapist. But really, your own will is what's going to get you through it and maybe help. You can get help with a car reading session from me. That should help too. But you'll need that, and then you're gonna need the right representation, the right lawyers, the right. And here's something else that happened, Eve, and I'm not being long-winded. Sometimes you'll get representation, And that representation really wants to work for the people that you're negotiating with. They'll fuck you over in some negotiations or some. But all these things, as long as she's been in the game 25 plus years, this late in the game, she should have had most of this shit worked out. Like, I could understand them first 10 years. You live and you learn. But by the time she got to Empire, she was already 10, 15 years into legendary status. She should have figured the game out by then. Like, at some point, we as black folks got to be accountable. You've been doing something 15 years, you better know the ins, outs, arounds, whereabouts, ups, downs, 360s of anything you've been doing for some 15 goddamn years. Her complaining about this stuff this late in the game makes me ask, what the fuck were you doing 15 years ago? And I don't want to pile on her because I felt her pain when she cried. Like, that bothered me. I hate seeing women cry, especially black women, because my mom and my sister black women. It's just something happens to me when I know it's some real shit. When I know it's over some, when I know the cry is over, they gave their heart and their soul or something, and it didn't turn out like when Angela Bassett cried when she got that act, that when she didn't get that Oscar. I don't give a fuck about none of these accolades and like that, but knowing how much it meant to them, and you see that raw emotion when they speak. If you don't feel that, where the fuck is your level of compassion? You dig? But seeing that, I feel for the system, man, and I wish it wasn't this way. But I think it's a way for all of us that are observing. You kind of going through some first year shit 20 years in, and at some point, we got to look within and be like, okay, when do we get to the point to where we educate ourselves to a point to where this can't happen to us? Because let me tell you something about Hollywood, and I'm going to shut up. If you, and she is the goods, and they know who the people who got the goods, they know who they are. They're not going to tell you and give you what you deserve. You're going to have to put your fucking feet down and say no a couple times to get it. And if she wasn't willing to do that, she gonna have to ask herself, look in the mirror. I'm gonna finish with that.
That's real talk. Um, and again, I wasn't slighting her ability to. She's. I think she's a good actress. I believe every role that I've seen her in. I'm not taking anything from her talent. I am saying that you do have to be careful on who you do business with. And I agree with what Dewan was saying about our trauma, I guess, as a people. I think after 400 years of chattel slavery, you'd think we would have learned our lesson about working for free. And because we weren't really working for free as much as we were forced into the situation that we were in, and then we fought to get out of it, and now we're such babies really in this grand scheme of making sure that what's ours is ours and people are giving us what's owed to us, but without reparations, without them cutting the check, the math ain't gonna math. So I think that this problem is going to be from the lowest of us to the highest of us. Now there are going to be exceptions to the rule. That's cool, and that happens, and that's by design. But I think the majority of us would benefit from them people paying what's owed to us. I had a conversation earlier today, and then I'm gonna get to my sister Kush. Peace, Marco. I see you up on the stage too. I'm gonna get to you too. I had a conversation earlier today, and they were asking me, Taraji's got enough money to have financial advisors, right? Like, why doesn't she have things set up for the future? Why is it that so many of our celebrities and people who should be financially well to do or well off are not making these responsible decisions with their money? And I think it goes back to not knowing how to negotiate or not knowing who our friends are. We have this real big issue with friends, enemies, and allies. And when you think that everybody's out here trying to be your friend and most of these people are out here trying to win, well, then you'll end up signing contracts with people who are not trying to pay you. You sign a 360 deal with the person who said that they are on your side. You end up with one
And Eve,
single. Go ahead.
Eve, to answer her question, that Hollywood money ain't that's a 3 car Monty. I'm telling you, like you may get paid 8 months a year after you do some work, but bills come every day. So and they don't the pay and then the amount of people that they have around them that they're responsible for, it's but I'm just gonna, I ain't gonna be too long with it. I'm gonna say this. It's way more complicated than we see. Than as far as how they deal with money. It's way more the amount when everyone knows you have money, people find a way to you. And sometimes your heart is a little bigger than your pockets. And that happens a lot. So I think a lot of us gotta have like some level. Sometimes when you see these actors go through things, it's not that they didn't put it away the right way. Oftentimes they never had to begin with because it's an illusion with that money, especially in movie and more so in music, but definitely in Hollywood too.
Absolutely. And we definitely talked about the high paid employee aspect. You know, a lot of these celebrities are not bosses. A lot of y'all are confused about what a boss is. But if you just look at how they're moving, they're not making boss moves. They are moving like you and me. Okay, not you and me, because maybe you're a boss. Because I know I'm a boss. But they're moving like people who are going to be working for people for the rest of their lives. And if you can't even see that pattern and how they've been moving, then you're going to be sad and upset and disappointed when they're not getting what you feel like they're owed. And Kush, look, Peace says, the reason I brought you up is because you've been doing this business thing. And I know that you've been talking to these business owners. And when it comes to having a team, a lot of times niggas want to get something for free, right? Because it's like, I know you, you know me, maybe we barter, maybe we do this, but at the end of the day, niggas got to get paid, right, Kush?
Yeah, most definitely. And peace, power, reparations to you and everybody else in the room. Like, look, okay, having these honest conversations with these business owners, it plays a major part for me because I want people to understand that everybody does not do good business. Okay, you can have a whole team of people, but that doesn't mean that they genuinely have your interest at heart. As we can see with Taraji, right now, Taraji has built a career off her talent. But like Dewan was saying, the roles that she plays doesn't really make us look great as a community. So the people that you're surrounded with are telling you might as well just go and take this role because we know you need this money right now. But outside of you getting $150,000, you have to pay your staff. You have to pay your hairdresser. You have to pay your makeup artist. You have to pay your wardrobe artist. And matter of fact, you need to really make sure that you have people that are going to be able to make sure that your image itself look good, and that doesn't entail everything else that may go behind the scenes. Knowing what it means to do good business and be able to reap the benefits out of it plays a major part. You know what I'm saying? Just because like me and Dewan may collab on something doesn't mean me and Dewan may have the same outlook or the same perspective and the same essential outlook of how this can go. So his perspective may go a different direction and mine may go a different direction as well. But hey, that doesn't always mean that he and I would work together. And that's okay. I can just easily say I can cut my losses and go. That's okay. Because I know that maybe where his vision may be going may not work for me, and it's not going to help me reach a financial goal that I'm trying to reach in business. Just because the grass looks greener on the other side does not mean that it is. And you have to be careful. Like, you can easily get screwed over to the point where you see a lot of these celebrities where they were really big back in the day and now they're homeless. You see a lot of these celebrities nowadays where you see them living in hotel rooms with their spouses, right? Like with 4 or 5 kids, and you're like, yo, like what happened to you? It's a real reality check, especially when you don't know how to deal with your money correctly. If you don't even know how to invest your money in certain things and what to look for, you could wind up in a deeper hole than what you really think so. And part of having those conversations with these business owners are like, hey, listen, look, if you're not getting support from the community, we need to figure out why. Why are you not getting support from the community? Are there issues with booking? Is there issue with pricing? Is all these things an issue? So the whole point is even also when Terrence Howard did his little portion of speaking up about it, he made it a point to mention in the movie Hustle and Flow that when it came to, I believe, the royalties, was that
himself may have written the songs, but the company all themselves own DJ, the character itself. So he got double screwed out of it. You did the work writing the songs, but the people own the character that you played with your face and with your talent. So is all this really worth your dignity? Is it really all that deep? Or are you kind of tired of looking and typecasting a negative outlook on the community and willing to step up and do better? But I'm just gonna land there. I don't want to hog the mic. Thank you.
Thank you, Kush. And definitely your points are much appreciated and uh, necessary for the conversation that we're having. Look, I like what you just said about Terrence Howard because I lost my point, but I really liked it when you said it. I really had something to say. Damn it, Kush, what was I about to say? Marco, you have a question or you have a comment? I'm just trying to catch my thought.
I'm a I yeah, I have a comment.
Okay, hold on, Marco. Um,
Yes.
Kush, you said something about what he said, and
About him being effed over in Hollywood and him getting screwed over on his royalties and him
yes,
owning the
thank you.
territory.
Oh my God, yes. All right, it's like Famous Amos. Thank you, Marco. You've been much appreciated up on stage paying attention. Kush, I was paying attention. I just couldn't figure out how I wanted to connect it. Famous Amos. Y'all learned about Famous Amos, right? Everybody learned. That's like one of the niggas they like to tell us about. Don't know why, because we're not picking up what they've been putting down. But that one lesson about our image and likeness and stuff, that should have been beat into us a very long time ago. And since it hasn't been, we're still dealing with the same thing. Kush, I'm gonna make it a point to talk to the minis tomorrow when they wake up about Famous Amos because damn it,
And
if we gotta have that needs to be
I
something we already know. We can't be
Eve,
going into the future.
I just drove past Famous Amos's stand on Sunset.
Man.
Like they'll do that shit and then give you a fucking plaque and be like, "This is where that nigga made them cookies that we
There
stole."
you go. And then that's
It's
that's the
literally
end
like
of
that.
your legacy. You're not getting paid anymore because it's not yours anymore. And I learned that real time in school. Just a real quick aside, in school I made art, but the art was not mine because if you do work under a group, it's the group's work. And you really have to read your paperwork, y'all. We really need to be people who read paperwork. That's why a lot of us get screwed out of what's ours because we're not reading paperwork. Or because we don't have the right paperwork because they're on there, I'm white and I say so. Y'all remember, maybe you don't because you're not old enough, but do you remember when we used to have papers because we wasn't supposed to be there? I mean, I don't have any personal memories of it, but I remember. And I know y'all do too. And we're still dealing with this right now. If you don't have the right papers, if you didn't cross the T and you didn't dot the I, well, now they can take all of your stuff. So, Terrence Howard should have known this. We should know this, and I appreciate the reminders because I know that these lessons are going to be things that we're going to pass on to the next generation. Like I said, when the minis wake up, talking to them about Famous Amos, they need to know. Peace, Marco. Welcome to stage. Thank you for your assistance earlier. What's up?
Peace, Queen. And real quick on a side note, thank you because this year, real quick, since the year is winding down, I want to say thank you because this year you have really truly taught me. You, Empress, Brother Muko, and Gov from the Lick Store, have all taught me so much, not just about myself, but you all have given me like glasses to see stuff, not just from average perspective, but from a Black American perspective. And I thank you, and I thank all of you for educating me on everything from the migrants to history to real history to seeing things for what they really truly are. But to what we are talking about tonight, first when I saw that you were holding a space for the Math Ain't Math, and I already knew what it was going to be about, and then I saw your tweet about Taraji P. Henson. Now, let me say this, and I'm gonna make it quick. Now, first, as far as Taraji P. Henson, she's always been vocal about how much she was getting very underpaid in Hollywood. Even from Benjamin Button in 2009. Like she basically got 300,000 while Brad Pitt got around 10 million. So that's my first thing. And she was even nominated for a, a Oscar. Now, now what I want to say about that is this. Tyler Perry was the one who started paying her what she was worth. Tyler Perry. Yes, I know Tyler Perry, he did this, he did that, but stay with me on this. He paid Cicely Tyson what she was worth. Anytime she was in a role, he made sure he paid her absolutely what she was worth. So it's about basically building our own, separate, not segregate, separate. I didn't understand that term, what that term meant, because that's a term coming from the Nation of Islam, if you know. Separate, not segregate, separate means building your own and protecting your own. And that comes from reparations, cutting the check. Basically, it's just cutting the check. That's all it is, reparations. Because Holly Weird, I don't want to call it Hollywood, I call it what it is. Holly Weird has been screwing us over since Holly Weird even started. From backdoor, from shady backroom deals, and from the casting calls to drugging them and trying to force you to get to sign messed up deals. They make you desperate. So you say, how badly do you want this role? I can find somebody else. Well, one actor won't do, one actor will do. And Monique has been saying this since 2015. And people were saying, "Oh, she a hater, she crazy, she bitter." No, she wasn't. Like the whole Netflix thing was going on, and she was saying that the number was definitely foul. It was foul because she was being lowballed. She put in years on top of years. She's not just a good comedian, she's a wonderful actress. Even though her roles aren't the best positive for a black woman to be portrayed, absolutely, I know this. And I know that at the Oscars, they give you trophies for playing messed up characters, especially towards black people. I know this. Yes, I know this, but just following me on this. In Holly Weird, a black, it's very difficult, even more difficult for a black actor to survive and to thrive. It's very difficult because while one actor may age, they may find another one and just pay them more and just pay them more because they're fair skinned, or they find the lighter actor may not.
Marco,
Yes.
Marco, I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. But look, while you were talking, I had to look this up because you were saying some things that I didn't know. And I don't like to be ignorant in these spaces. I do try to do my diligence on what we're talking about. You said that Taraji got paid her worth from Tyler Perry. So then I started thinking, what does that mean? And then it looks like $500,000. That's what she was asking for. Is that what you were talking about? She asked for 500, he gave her 500.
Basically, yeah, yeah, pretty
Okay.
much. Yeah, he's been
So
doing
look,
it.
you guys, here's a quote, and then Mark, I would like you to, you can give your thoughts on this, and then I'm gonna move to different. He's got his hand up, but this is what Taraji said: "I was never in a position where I could not take a job. It's just by the grace of God. They have all been really good characters to sink my teeth in, but it was never a situation where I was like, I'm not going to do that. Now I'm finally there 20 years later. I'm finally to the place where I can go, oh, you know what? I feel like I've done that, or they're not paying enough. I'm finally there." That's what Taraji said. And my question to you, Marco, is can you say that you're not being paid your worth if you're accepting all of the jobs that you're being offered? At some point, it if you're not being paid your worth, it's because you've said that this is the cost is the cost. And if you're not paying the cost, then I'm not doing that role.
but at the same but at the same time, great question. And by the way, to what you were saying earlier, you don't like to be ignorant. And I'm like, that's the thing. We all growing, we all learning. It's so much I learned from being in your spaces. We all here to grow and learn. Because at the end of the day, none of us know everything. So we can all learn from each other, most definitely. But to your point, paying your worth, yeah, she's just taking any job she can because at the end of the day, them bills got to get paid. The light got to stay on. I still got to eat. But so yeah, absolutely. She may be taking any job she can, and people can look at that and go, "Oh, she'll just take that job, and she won't ask for more. Okay, we'll just keep lowballing her." But I just wanted to spin around here real quick, and I'm gonna take it. I'm gonna drive it on home. I just wanted to say this. We was talking about how people are being paid their worth, and people being effed over if they don't have their business right. At the same time, Taraji talked about how she would pay 300,000 for Benjamin Button, and she had to pay Uncle Sam. And so I started thinking about something, and something really clicked in my head a couple weeks ago on YouTube. I realized how really racist YouTube is because they make a million videos of top 10 lists of the brokest rappers. Like they have millions of these lists all over YouTube. I tried to look up a broke rock stars who went broke. I couldn't find it. I tried to look up a list of country music stars that went broke. I couldn't find one. And then I thought to something else. They said that a lot of these rappers went broke because of back taxes. And so I became a big No Limit fan, started listening to the whole No Limit era. And in the last dawn on the intro, Master P said, I'm tired of you hosts following me around, tapping my phone, and overtaxing my money. So I started thinking to myself, what if good old Uncle Sam is overtaxing rappers far more than they're overtaxing any other artist in any other music genre? And that's a big what if, i.e., they are doing that. They are overtaxing rappers far more than they are taxing other rappers, than other artists. Let me say that. But then let me drive it on home.
I'll do you one further, Marco, before you drive it home. They are probably taxing the niggas. We're getting the tax.
Of course,
There's an underlying nigga tax. Gotta be.
of
But
course,
go ahead.
nigga tax. Okay, but absolutely. And to drive it on home, yeah, most definitely. At the end of the day, it's like Brother Reza Islam posted this about him picture with Taraji P Henson and said she didn't say absolutely nothing wrong. And at the end of the day, that's what I was just saying earlier. Separate and not segregate, separate, building our own, having our own Black Hollywood for sure. Because guess what? Not only are we going to pay actors what they are worth, we are also going to pay, we are also going to make sure that we are also portrayed in the right light. We're also going to make sure we're portrayed in the right light. We're not going to be making sure, no, because at the end of the day, we are everything we are teaching today goes on to the next generation, and we want the next generation to be an incremental step up to what we are doing. So it's all at the end of the day, it's just separating, segregate, it's separate and not segregate, building our own and protecting our own, and we can't do that without reparations. And with that being said, I'm gonna land my G5 is landed and my feet are planted. Everybody stay blessed, black and highly favored, and everybody have a safe holiday. If you celebrate, you do, and if not, remember, celebrate. Peace.
Peace, Marco. Thank you for those words. As always, sometimes I never know which way you're gonna go. Tonight, I'm happy you went in the direction you went.
I
Um,
know I could be all over the place.
that's cool. That's cool. Dewan, before I moved on to the next hand, were you gonna say something to what Marco was saying earlier?
Yeah, it was something I was out. It was something he had said that I lost my point on. When it came to these actors. One thing I do want to say is Taraji again. Oh yeah, something said about the $500,000. That's what she asked for. What? You only asked for $500,000, knowing the budgets? These movies, these movies, like these budgets be like 20, 30, 50, 60 million
The
dollars.
budget for that movie was 150 million. On the movie, she only asked for a half a million. The budget was 150 million.
And that's the thing. See, Tyler Perry Pater did he basically got an actress who was in a movie that she probably should have gotten paid $2 million for, but she only got 100,000, 200,000. But she said she came in asking for a half million. She was very pivotal to that movie. She was the backbone of that movie. It was her juxtaposition with DiCaprio that made DiCaprio's character pop. And you only asked for $500,000. And then so now, yeah, of course, Tyler Perry looks like a saving grace giving you $500,000. His ass should have paid you $2 million too. You know, you like at least in Benjamin Button, you were a lead, you weren't a lead, so you weren't in a lot of the movie. Tyler Perry, you in every goddamn scene. And that see right there where we're starting. Taraji, this is the same Taraji who carried Baby Boy. There's a whole generation of hood chicks that grew up wanting to be her. And
You only asked for $500,000. There, right there, is your sin, and other things that go along with it. But that right there, I like y'all. Y'all know me when I talk. Of course, I talk about white supremacy. But my first place to like to start is what can we do, that white supremacy don't control. There's still parts that we play in this whole thing. What can we do to tighten up our game as we deal with white supremacy at the same time? And number one is once you make a fucking iconic film, don't ask for no goddamn $500,000. You need to ask for way more than that. Because they know, Hollywood knows, if they know you're gonna say yeah, they're gonna give you a number that they know you're gonna say yeah to. You have to be willing to walk away. I know I've been broke as fuck and walked away. This time last year, I was offered a deal on an app, and I was broke as fuck going into last Christmas. I was offered a deal to take my show to an app and not do it on YouTube and do it on that app. But for me to take that deal for what that number that they were offering me, it wasn't worth leading YouTube. Even though my YouTube pays me far less, even though my YouTube, is what it is. Like YouTube gives me the potential to do certain things that if I took it off for the amount that they were offering, it wasn't worth it. A few months later, that fucking app crashed. You got to be willing to say no, and it don't matter what your current situation is.
That's facts. That goes back to the whole negotiation aspect that we have an issue with. And and y'all are going to hate me for this. Culture over color. This is a conversation that we're going to have, not tonight, maybe not tonight. We're going to start it tonight though, because sometimes the white supremacist in the room is a nigga that looks just like you. And if we're going to be doing business with people, we have to know who is on our side and who's not. I really think that we've got an issue with friends, enemies, and allies. You think that just because they look like you, they're on your side, and they're not. I don't know how many different examples we need of niggas who are not on our side, but they're there. I'm not about to go into them right now. Peace different. Welcome to the stage. The math ain't mathin', or does the math math? What are your thoughts?
Well, the thing I want to say is, the time of me being on YouTube, it's a lot of people that does anime and does all that. It's a lot of black anime people who have ideas for some franchises that can be like Marvel or DC, have the next big game that can be the next big thing and all that. But they mainly keep their stuff on YouTube. Like it's the same thing that Dewan said. They keep their stuff on YouTube because they got control of their stuff. A lot of them don't want to go to like a lot of them don't want to go to Hollywood because they don't want their ideas to be took and to be flipped around and have some white people tell them that they need to do this and do that. It's just like it came to the Blade movie. They wanted Blade to be white, but Blade was black in the comic books. But they wanted him to be white. It had to take one of the main like it had to take one of the main directors to tell them, no, like ain't doing that. So it's just a lot of them. It's a lot of us that got dope ideas and like some good stuff to bring out, but it's just it comes to Hollywood, they run everything. It comes to the entertainment world and all that, they run all that. So it's hard for us to kind of get our vision out there the way we want to, because the people who's running the entertainment world.
Okay. I can't lie different. I had no clue what you were talking about, but I think I
Really? Oh no.
got it. No, it's
I'm
okay.
sorry about
I
that. I was talking about anime. I'm
I
sorry about
I
that. I was
think I
talking about
got it
people who
now.
made like some comic books, people who make
You
like
were
like
talking about the vision and how
yeah,
we need
yeah.
to be
Like it's
able
people who
to.
make comic books, games, and all that. They all be on comic book. I mean, that's what they all be on YouTube. But they all have good ideas, but they don't like to go to Hollywood for it. They don't want to go to Netflix because they don't want their ideas took it. Because a lot of them try to go to
Right.
Hollywood and stuff, but they don't want their ideas taken because there's a lot
Okay,
of black
okay, okay, okay,
YouTubers
okay.
online.
Different, different,
So
different,
this
different, different, different. Do you think because it's not really what I'm talking about, but it's kind of what I'm talking about. So let me just ask you a
it
question.
does
Let
play a
me
part.
let me just ask you a question. Different. Calm down. Hold on. My question: do you think that it's a stronger push for these people to stay on YouTube versus just take the check and go on Netflix or go on other platforms? Like what do you think is the stronger move? Even though their platforms might not be growing as fast as if they were on Netflix. Like what do you think?
The stronger move for them might just be on YouTube because they got creative control of their ideas, except going to Hollywood and have them
Okay,
take
cool.
their ideas and flip it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
I would agree. And look, that's the thing different because, like I was saying earlier, and thank you for your comment because I do appreciate it. It helps when we're thinking in a bunch of different ways. So I hadn't thought about that aspect, but using what I was talking about earlier with Taraji, she was saying that she wasn't getting paid her worth, but she was accepting all of the jobs that were being offered to her. So both of those things can't be true. We have to draw a line in the sand. We have to get paid what we're owed. Um, let's see. We got a my sister Miriam. I see you've been on stage for a minute, but just if you don't mind giving us a moment, let's see what Judge Sarah has to say. What's going on, Judge?
Thank you. Well, I was just listening and but I didn't watch the video, but I live in LA. And I don't know, sometimes, I'm a critical thinker, so I just think critically. And Taraji's been working for a very long time. I kind of looked and see how much was she's worth. I don't know how true that is, but this far along in her career, I don't think she should be having money issues. One of the things that I think is probably an issue is that she's an old school actress or celebrity, and things have changed. Now you can't just be a celebrity and people want to come see your movie. It looks like Proud Mary failed. Um, but today in engagement, you have to engage. You have to be on social media. If y'all recall with what's his name, Will Smith, he got on Jada because Jada tried to videotape him. He's like, wait a minute, sis, you can't do this. This is my bread and butter. You understand? What I'm saying to you is, she may not be worth what she used to be because she's not engaged. Today, you can't just be a celebrity and people want to come see your movies. You got too much competition on social. You understand what I'm saying, sister? Because I'm just
I
wondering
kind of
why.
I kind of do feel you. If you're saying that competition is steep
Mhm.
and we have to be more unforgiving about what we're going to be accepting. But again, if you're only going to be asking for a certain amount and then people meet you there, well, that's your stealing and your floor. Like you did that,
Yeah,
right?
the 500,000 don't even sound right to me, sister. So that don't even make any sense. Like at her junction, she's not working for $500,000. That sounds crazy to me. I don't know. I don't know. But you understand what I'm saying? I mean, I guess you're work. I mean, for example, Kevin Hart, he don't seem to be having any problem. They paying him. Does that make
But I
sense?
Well,
don't even.
it's
All
a
right.
little,
So look,
Yeah.
what
it's
we
a
were
little
talking about
different.
earlier. Go ahead,
Mm.
Twan.
It's a little different. Kevin Hart's a comedian, so when he's out on tour, he gets a gate, and he gets to keep the gate, and he's selling out like baseball arenas. So when he went to Philly, he sold 40,000 tickets. 40 and the average ticket price is $50. Forty
He's
thousand times
working.
50, you can add it up,
He's
and then
working.
and
He's
then
working. Right.
and no, it's different kind of working. Stand up comedy working and movie working are two different workings.
I mean,
Um,
I understand
Hold
what
on,
you're saying, but
let me finish. There's two different workings, so it's like you can't come close to comparing the two, because of what he can do independently of Hollywood. His comedy money isn't dependent upon what Hollywood values him at. His comedy
I
money,
understand that. I
but
understand that.
when
But
it
what
comes
I
to
mean,
Taraji, I understand. Let me finish.
I'm talking about the movie. I'm referring to apples to apples. How much is
I'm sorry, Twan. I thought you had co-host, and you don't. But maybe you do now. Judge, I'm sorry. Just give us a second. And look, I think last time I didn't let you talk because I started surfing your profile and I got so confused because I don't know who Judge Sarah is, but is she a racist? Because she must need to be exposed. You don't have to go into that right now, but that's
expose her,
Yeah.
sister? You the only, and you one of the few people in here that actually read the fucking profile and see
no.
she
I
my
mean, I'm
oppressor.
sorry. Like,
I
yeah,
ain't mad
that's.
at you, sister. You one out of everybody on here who know me. Probably 7 people have check who it is. But at any rate, brother, I understand what you said. What I'm referring to is how much.
Okay. So what I was saying was, um,
I
when it
don't want
comes
to
when it
interrupt you. I meant what
what
she's
I was
getting
saying
paid for a
was
movie.
what I was saying. God, what I you there? Okay. What I was saying was Taraji, where she is right now, you got to understand the color purple is going to go #1 next week. It's going like this. It's already sold out at a lot of theaters. So actors are allowed of down a down here and there, and still like white actors are allowed to have a movie not hit, one or two movies not hit. Yeah, what's his name? Not Brad Pitt. That's the other white boy. Tom Cruise went through about a decade to where his movies wasn't hitting, and he still got paid top dollar. So that's only a game that they play with us. When it comes to your last couple movies, and the movie's not performing. Taraji's money. The TV show that she was on, Empire, it went #1. Her movies, movies do well, and in spite of her down here and there, she does well. Fact is, ask for nothing. If you ask it, but she's not asking for nothing with an $500,000. But I will say this: one part in the interview, she did give an example of getting $10 million. So I'm not sure if it was $10 million for one movie or a set of movies, but she did give her example of getting $10 million a movie. She said, "Okay, you may get $10 million. Okay, fine. Taxes take away half, so now you're working with 5 million." And then she said, "When you pay your team gets 30%, but they're getting 30% on the gross, not the net. So they're getting 30% of 10 million, and then your taxes are getting you down to a little over 5. So now you basically got 2 to work with once you pay everybody out." And that sounds about right. When it comes to taxes, could be, of course, you'll get some back, depending on where your businesses go. But if you're on a series, it's like in the NBA. If you're on a TV series, you don't get the privilege, the benefit of running your money through a business first and being able to make your deductions and this and that, and make them. When you're on a TV show, you are a paid employee, just like those NBA players. So your money goes to those high taxes first, versus if you're a performer and if you're a musician or a comedian like Kevin Hart, your money doesn't hit. They don't take that money out first. You get your full net, and then you run it through your business, and then once you're finished, your business has whatever deductions it has, you pay taxes off that. So when it comes to how she's paying her taxes, and when she gave that example of what it costs to make $10 million in Hollywood, it's one of those things where you see right off the top that it's not what we all think it is. And but that's what I say about that. She is getting paid
Can I
half a million
finish my
dollars some
statement?
areas.
Can I just Eve, what I'm trying to communicate is her marketability is what I'm referring to. And then when I compared her to Kevin Hart, I meant what she's being paid per movie. What I'm saying, I'm in LA, so I know the LA culture. What I'm saying is we don't hear from Taraji P. Henson. In today's age, in today's era, you have to be engaged. You have to be on social media. You have to be present. Just, and for example, with Monique, I personally don't think she was worth what she was asking Netflix for. That personally, okay. I don't find her to be very entertaining or talented, but that's just me. Okay. When I'm referring to Kevin Hart is working, meaning he is out here. You see him online.
Judge, I feel you. I feel you.
You understand
Like,
what I'm
but
saying?
it's like a
Mm-hmm.
different. What Dewan's trying to tell you is that comedy is a different arena, right, than acting. And when you get paid per show versus a lump sum for a movie, it's different math. I hear you though. Dewan, I think she was talking about Taraji's uh
Yeah, she was talking about like,
marketability. Like she's old, like she's an old actress.
yeah,
She's not really. I heard her too. I feel you. However, I think at the end of the day, my main point, um, is that if you're not going to appreciate your own worth, then you can't expect other people to do it either. And then if you're going to accept something, then you've set the ceiling. Like, and that's not fair for you to come to everybody else and be like, it's not fair that you got what you asked for.
Hey,
That
you're right about that. And on top of that, Eve, again, comedian, just to let you know, Judge, I'm from LA too. I know the city, and I'm a comic, so I know how comics get paid. And some of my friends tour with Kevin Hart, so I know, yeah, really what comics get paid. So I'm saying this from experience, not trying to big time nobody. But so the level of working is going to be different because the comedian is going to have someone to show their face every Friday and Saturday in different cities. She's not a comedian. She's not a singer. She can't do that. But and I want to move on because I want to say stuck on this part, Eve. But I do want to say one part about just to put a button on that. I'm looking at her movie list. She's putting out over the last decade. She's putting out 2 to 3 movies a year. As far as an actor goes, that's the highest level of working because a lot of actors may put out one movie every other year or one movie a year. She's averaging two a year. She's The Color Purpose coming out, and she also did Paw Patrol. 2022, she did Rise of the Millions. She did Annie 2021. 2020, she did 2 movies in 2021, one in 2020. Well, we all know a lot of that had to do with the pandemic. Two in 2019, two in 2018, three in 2016, three in 2014. So, yeah, as far as acting goes, as far as a movie actor, and that's on top of doing TV series in between. She's working. At the end of the day, I think the to put a button on it, one, she's not asking for what she's worth. Two, Hollywood does play those games with black people because if a white actress couldn't ask for nothing that small. Like they're gonna get that money off top before without even have. Sometimes we be thinking that like white folks are better or whatever, whatever. No, they'll just come in the door. Here's your baseline offer right here, and their baseline offer for a white actor or a white person that draws what she draws is gonna be 3 times what the black actor even asked for. So we gotta remember that dynamic too.
very, very, very true. The I'm white and I said so of it all. That is very real. Um, Sister Miriam, peace to you. I know you've been so patient. Thank you for your patience this evening. Um, the math ain't mathin'. I know the math ain't mathin' to you, sis. You've been very vocal about these things. But what are your thoughts this evening?
Good evening to you in the room. Good evening, Brother Don B. Um, Definitely the math isn't mapping. And as we say, or used to say in the conscious community, yeah, definitely the science not mapping. Um, First of all, when you're dealing with a person in their career, and this we happen to be discussing Taraji P. Henson, and the fact that when she was doing the Benjamin Buttons movie with Brad Pitt, you know how she was lowballed on her end of just 300,000 while he was getting paid millions. This is a coming running thread and thing because you have, as what Brother Dewan B just said, they get 3 to 5 times what a black actor comes in the door. They wouldn't dare lowball a white actor. They have like a baseline pay. Period. It's 5 million and up for them. They could be a nothing and a no one and a nobody, and damn near get just as much, the same, if not just as much, a higher salary paid than their black counterparts. And since we're talking about the mathing, we already know how PC people do it. We know how white supremacy moved through this, through Hollywood, because for the simple fact they also use others, um, melanated people to do our historical roles and undercut many of our foundational Black American actors and actresses that way. So that's another way to ostracize those brothers and sisters in the movie industry even further. Um, and a lot's not being said about that. And I think Black American actors and actresses need to get together and form some type of coalition or some type of union because they need to stop that hemorrhaging of them being disrespectful, using other melanated people to play our historical roles or just our roles in general. And the math definitely not mapping because if you go on any of these entertainment apps or streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, um, Max, Paramount, Peacock, etc. You can find Black American actors, actresses, entertainment, and I won't say niche things, but it's darn near beginning to get to that point because you have Nollywood, which is your Nigerian network display, scenes that is displayed throughout Netflix and Bollywood with the Indians. So I mean, yeah, Indians from India. Um, um, and then you have others, the other ethnicities, but you are hard pressed to find just good old fashioned FBA movies concerning couples, families, cartoons, or anything of that nature. So we're slowly being erased and pushed out on that tip. So I thought that was something that could be brought into the conversation with it because it's definitely not adding up. The math ain't mathing. And they're being hit and like Taraji was saying, if you know your worth. Well, as Brother Dewan B and yourself have said, yeah, you can know your worth, but when you read that statement, the fact that she would ask for so little, you don't come in lowballing yourself. Start with the highest bid, and then you can negotiate. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Negotiate somewhere in the middle, but you will never be at that low point to where you have to damn near work yourself to death just to have enough income to cover not only the taxes and not only your staff or your team, but also something for you to truly
Miriam,
live on. Yes,
you just made me think about this. If you know how much it costs to feed everybody, why aren't you asking for what you're worth? Like, come on now. Like, you cannot be out here saying that, it's so expensive and your team costs this much and you need your team. And I'm not saying you don't need your team, but you're gonna have to get comfortable saying no, like Tawan was saying earlier. And if you're
exactly.
not comfortable walking away, then they know that you don't mean business. And that's a lot of us. Like, and Taraji actually said it herself. She said that there were jobs that she couldn't say no to in the beginning. So, we have to, I think we need to be more honest about the timeline of events, right? Like, it's not just that she's worth more than what she was getting, but if you've always been accepting less than what you're owed, and then you get to where someone finally pays you what you feel like you were owed in the past, well, you're going to be playing catch up in perpetuity. You're going to be playing catch up the whole time. And that's like that's that's our story. I want to get away from that story, Miriam. That shit is a nightmare. We need to get to where we're getting paid what's owed to us because we know our worth. Our value is etched in stone because of what we're able to do. Nobody's saying she's not a good actress. She should get paid. But if you don't care, why should we care? And but we should care because damn it, if this mindset isn't plaguing our community, right? Across the board, you got people who expect niggas to work for free because it's supposed to be for the community or we're supposed to be looking out for each other. And then I keep thinking about, I'm sorry, Miriam, I know I completely just cut you off, but I keep thinking about y'all remember when Oprah was like, you get a bag and you get a bag and everybody get a bag. Like, what if they're getting paid in gifts? And then it's like, the $100,000 that the check that they got, was supplemented with trips and, being in certain environments and, having access to certain things. And it's not tangible anymore as much as it's symbolic. I think that that's a very real thing. but I don't have any evidence. It's alleged at this point.
I know that happens a lot in the music industry, but acting is a slightly different animal, because they do come in with a set salary, or a salary, whatever they negotiate on, and whatever your manager negotiate on your behalf. But that's why you have to be a person that's willing to read the contracts. You also need to kind of educate yourself on some of the jargon, because you have to have an entertainment lawyer. A lot of people come in the game unprepared, ill prepared, as Sister Kush was saying. You have to take it upon yourself to be learned. But let's be real, most people are not, but those who do end up being shrewd businessmen and women. And you have other endeavors outside of just you acting. You know what I'm saying? You put into businesses. That's what made Kevin Hart so brilliant at what he does, and other actors like Bill, the greats like Bill Cosby and Denzel Washington, and others of that magnitude, because not only do they were they getting the roles, and when they were getting the roles, they demand what they needed to demand, and they also put monies and other things that can germinate or to create revenue. And then we also need to talk about like being able to be um to sacrifice on some things. And I can kind of understand what she's saying at the time, because evidently her team, I won't say her team, but her management mismanaged her. And that's a horror story all too familiar, um, because things should have been set up after she did some roles and so many things. And then when you talk about entertainment, actor or actress of her magnitude, or anyone who has been out here 10 to 15 to 20 years plus in the game, you already have a star power and a staying power, and you don't have time to be on social media. Some people do to a certain degree, but they have people who do that, who run those medias for them. To
Right. That goes back to that team. It goes
that
back to the team.
marketing. Yes.
If you don't have the right team because you think everybody's out here trying to be your friend, then you're gonna be wasting a lot of money, and then you're gonna be out here telling everybody that it costs a lot of money to pay these people who are not on your side. Like I'm there with you, Miriam. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Indeed, and just like you have our brother Wesley Snipes, and you had some others where they come after them for I won't say tax evasion, but whatever it is concerning their taxes, when they had a whole accountant. Just don't blindly trust someone to do all your business. You have to occasionally sit down and go through the books, read your contracts, read all of that. If you're in, I don't care what the business is, it could be a lemonade stand. You have to know the ins and out to a certain degree. You need to at least understand A connects to B to C to D to F, so that you can make sure that you're not being screwed over. I'm not saying you need to be as educated as the person in whom you are hiring to do that job for, but you do need to know the normal laws, or layman laws of that in which the business they are handling for you. So I'll yield my time and I'll come back and speak. Thank you, sister.
Thank you, Miriam. And to the room, I know, y'all probably like, I let Miriam talk for a very long time. It's because sometimes I make y'all wait for a very long time while I'm trying to work out some other things. And that judge lady, look, it's been a couple times she's been raising her hand, and I have not let her speak at all because I just didn't know what the fuck was going on. And if you looked at her profile, maybe you could decipher it better than me. But I'm glad I didn't. Look, if you're going to come in my spaces, uh, d- mm, you cannot, you cannot. I'm sorry. This is a whole, the math ain't math in real time. When I looked, at Judge Heidel as a racist. She might be a racist, but if you were married to a white man for 25 years and then you expected the system of white supremacy to protect you from this man, that math ain't mathing to me, yo. I'm sorry. And you can't make that math to me. I don't understand why you would expect it to work, but I'm glad that you realize that they don't give a shit about you. Like, it took 25 years of whatever type of abuse that you were experiencing at the hands of your white husband. And then, you try to get divorced from him, and the judge doesn't want to make things go in your favor. Because why would she? She's on his side. Did you think you thought it was going to go different? That's why Judge Heidel is a racist. But I could have told you that before even having to go through what you went through. So I'm sorry you went through that. But in the future, to the room, because this is a whole aside that I had no plans of actually talking about out loud. But if I don't let you speak in my space, it's probably because I looked at some things and I don't know what the hell was going on. And I just thought maybe you wanted to keep that private. But since you didn't, now everybody knows. Kush, welcome back. Kush. Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. Nope. Nope. Kush, I can't hear you at all.
Can you hear me now?
Much better. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you. So legalities and contracts, legalities and contracts. That's the word and that's the game. If you have a team, right, that is looking at these contracts and looking at these legalities and they're seeing the fine print and they're not saying to you, hey, look, this may not be in your best interest. We might want to try something different. That's a big red flag for me. Your image, your product, your name, your voice is who you are. It's your business. And you have to be able to protect your business at all times, right? And that is a really big thing. Having conversations with some of these business owners that I interviewed off camera, that was one of the number one things that they were talking about. Because people will sit up here and try to take your image, your voice, your likeness, or anything of you and try to say that it's theirs if you don't protect yourself. But you have to also have a good team that's willing to be honest with you and be like, hey, look, nah, we got to cut our losses here. We have to cut our losses here. This is not beneficial for you, right? Dealing with people that are going to be shisty and not honest is an issue, and this may also have played a part even in her situation now. I don't know, that may be the case, but I feel like her team is not taking accountability for it either. You're not protecting my image, and I would have to ask Taraji, if I had really had a conversation with her, like, look, sis, like, how long you've been dealing with these same people for the 15 years of your career, and at no point in time did they ever say to you, this role may be more beneficial for you than anything else. But like I said earlier, our ancestors, even during slavery, were inventing things, and at times they were not able to ever get the credit that they duly deserved. And knowing your history, right? I would never feel like my dignity, my image, my voice, anything that pertained to me and made me who I am is worth lowering for somebody else to feel like, well, that's just what it is. I'm saying to you, by lowering my price or whatever the case is that that's what I'm worth and that's what I'm willing to do it for. What I know as a person, I know how much I have to offer, right? Just if you have a business, you're not going to settle for anybody that could potentially do you shiesty or even not even be able to protect your image or your product, right? And that is the thing. People are not. I think her team is also not being honest with it. I think that a lot of these actors and people that have a hand in her money are also playing a major part in this as well. Because at some point in time, like, the fact that this had been going on for so long, it's like, yo, sis, like, why are you also kind of speaking up now? Why didn't you say anything within like the first like 7 years? You're waiting now, and so is Terrence Howard, and it's like, yo, like, okay, we get it, but Like, come on now. Like, it's a little late in the game to just speak up and say something now when you're probably at a point where you may be losing a home and you're probably living paycheck to paycheck like I am as a regular person. Um, so we have to do better. If any advice that I could give from the business owners, like I said, that I interviewed, is to protect yourself and your likeness, your image, and your product at all times. And you need to find honest people that are willing to, like, literally, like, work with you and be like, hey, look, if you end up doing this, this could put not only potentially damage your image, but this also is not going to put money in your pocket. And it's okay to be like, I'm going to cut my loss on that and move on to something bigger and better, because people who respect you, people who really care about your image, are not ever going to sit up here and make you down or belittle yourself or lower your shine just so they can honestly get profit out of it. Like that's just fact. So I'm just gonna land there. Peace, power, reparations. Thank you for letting me speak. And also, just Steve, I also want to tell you, thank you for coming into my Black American business space. I hope that it helped. You're awesome. And yeah, y'all all have a good day.
Yes, ma'am. That was an opportunity that I appreciated. Thank you very much for that. Look, Kush is speaking a powerful word about making sure that what's yours is yours. She asked me that question, and well, she didn't ask me that question, but that was my answer. I think that we all need to be very careful about what's ours, and there's different ways of doing it, whether it's insurance, whether it's trademarks, patents, copyrights, or just writing down on a napkin that it was you first on this day because you don't have anything else, but you had the wherewithal to actually write it down. I mean, it's going to be very hard to fight it, but you did do it and you have it. That sometimes we don't even do that much, but we're expecting everybody else to protect our stuff. I think that that math doesn't math. Um, I was talking to Dewan about this movie earlier. Have y'all seen Paid in Full? I don't know if you've seen it, but we try to do this thing where we watch a movie that we watched a long time ago. You know, you watch it as an adult and then you kind of pick up on a lot of stuff that you missed. And granted, maybe some of these movies we probably shouldn't have been watching when we were watching it. And some of the messages and game that was being put down weren't for us because, you know, you shouldn't be watching this at your prime ages of 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, whatever. Okay, so in Paid in Full, the main character, Ace, he's like, I think, the epitome of how you win. At least my dude keeps talking about Ace because everybody can eat, right? But everybody can eat if we're not being competitive, or at least we're not competing against each other. We can compete against them people, but that's when the math starts to get funny because you've got people who are out for themselves and then you got people who are out for the group. And remember, at the beginning of all of this, I told you the math will start to math when they cut the check. This all goes back to our own, what we're going to get out of this. And then if we can't do what we're supposed to do with what we already have, then how are we going to do what we're supposed to do when we get what we're supposed to get? Because really, it's a lot. And I don't know if y'all are ready. I know that if we're not having these conversations, we're definitely not ready. But I think that that's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should check it out. And shout out to Empress for doing her movie nights because that made me think about all these old movies that have so much game that they're not putting this stuff in movies today. Like you could just not watch anything that comes out new and just go back to all the stuff that's already been put out. And I promise it's going to lace you up with so much with what you could be doing. Taraji could be watching shit from when she was putting out Baby Boy and probably make better decisions than she's making right now. But these people are playing a role. They don't even really realize how much of an employee they are, living paycheck to paycheck. Have you considered that if you make $55,000 and you're living paycheck to paycheck, there are people out here making $2 million living paycheck to paycheck? Y'all make vastly different amounts of money, but how much you have to put out, it really doesn't even matter. So, would you rather be at the low end or the high end, or would you rather be a person who isn't having to live paycheck to paycheck, but are you getting what's yours? Are you worth it? Did you think that your value was where it was so that you can negotiate a higher cost. Because if you didn't, well, that's why you're getting paid what you're getting paid. And if you did, well, people like Devon and I, we can testify to what it looks like to get it out the mud. Um, my dude says you go for the money. Devon says, why do we have to live the poor man's teacher lifestyle? Like, why do they keep telling us that we have to do these things for less than what other people get to do them for? That math doesn't math to me. And I don't think it maths to you. Peace to my brother Christopher. Welcome to the stage. It's been a minute since you've joined us. What's going on?
Yo, what's up, everybody? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wanted to bring up the point about Terrence Howard in this situation. When I was just sitting here thinking about it, you guys were talking about the Taraji situation. I was just thinking it's in similarity to that, and it's real interesting because I think he not too long ago released a video out saying that his role in Hustle and Flow, he only got paid about 12,000 for that role, and I was, it was very shocking to actually hear that. And I'm thinking, that movie right there really made him a big time star in the eyes of a lot of people, definitely me. You know, but what's really intriguing about that is the fact that he was supposed to go on after that and play War Machine in the Iron Man 1 movie. And in that movie, at that time he would have been regarded as the A-list actor, and he was supposed to get his just due and get paid. But instead, Robert Downey Jr. was Iron Man, and um, they wanted him to actually cut his check, like half of his check, the money that he was going to get from Marvel, and that was going to be you know Robert Downey Jr.'s money. And at that time, Robert Downey Jr. wasn't even a A-list actor at all. I mean, I think he was just getting off dope in
Chris, let me
Hollywood.
let me let me slow you down for a moment because again, I try to, if I'm not 100% on the info, I try to look it up in real time. And in real time, I'm gonna mute you because the crunching is bothering me. But don't go anywhere, Chris. Look, what he was talking about. Terrence Howard got paid $12,000 for Hustle and Flow. Now, thinking about the budget for Hustle and Flow, it was $2 million. That was the budget. How much did they make from Hustle and Flow? That is ultimately the question that you would ask. And they made something like $23 million. So now, Chris, I'm gonna let you go back and speak, but the question is, did does he know what his worth was? Like, because I think that it goes back to the negotiation skills. Like, if you're the main character and you know that the budget is $2 million, $2.8 million, why are you only accepting $12,000? And who would have been the pick? So you have to know that the role is yours. Like, this role is yours. This is mine. Nobody's going to play this but me. Nobody can play this but me. But are people confident in their ability, or do they just feel like the role is going to go to someone else, so I have to accept it at the lowest amount? Where is the negotiation skills? Like, again, the movie went on to make $23 million. So that's 2 million times 10. I'm real bad with percentages, but I mean, that's a lot more than what they spent. And he only made $12,000. That math doesn't math to me.
Yeah.
Like, does that math make sense to you?
No, it doesn't. What I was gonna also say was that what they did though, they put him they when they put him down, they didn't actually put his name, Terrence Howard, on the role that he played, which was the character DJ. And DJ owned, or Paramount owned DJ. And so the money that DJ made, which was Terrence Howard, actually, you know, um, that money went back to the studios. It went back to Paramount Studios. So Paramount actually kind of like flipped the script on him in a way to keep him out. But I think he knew his at that time. I think he knew his worth, or he was aware of it. But they just didn't put his actual name, which Terrence Howard is his actual name, down as the person to receive the royalties and the residuals that he was supposed to get for that role. But yeah, that was and I think what he did in the Iron Man, you know, he walked away from, you know, the Iron Man 2 role because I think he could actually see the fact that, you know, hey, y'all gonna cut half my check and give it to Robert Downey Jr. You know, like hell no. So, you know, and I'm sure that Marvel check, you know, they writing big checks. So I mean, honestly, really, I mean, it really wouldn't be an Iron Man, or it really wouldn't be Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man if it wasn't for Terrence Howard. So again, I mean, that's us saving Marvel again, you know, through the Blade movies, and also through Terrence Howard uh, playing a War Machine. So
No, that's real talk. Thank you for those thoughts, Chris. I appreciate that. Dewan, did you have any thoughts before I kick it to the next speaker?
Yeah, what yeah they did was he wrote the songs in that movie. He wrote some of the stuff, and they put it basically under the name of the role so they can get the royalties. So they're making, not only is he not getting the royalties from those songs, the studio, the movie, they're getting the royalties. And but you see, you brought up Robert Downey Jr. I always want to bring back to the fact that, like, you know, black actors are always ones complaining about money. So, and we as listeners, we can oftentimes, and we've heard it a little bit earlier today, you know, flip it back on, okay, what's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? What's wrong with them? And oftentimes it is something wrong. You know, no one's perfect, but these white folks, they don't have to be good. You know what I mean? Like, you notice I was actually had this conversation with a friend earlier today on the phone, talking about how, like, white band, you never see white bands break up over money. You know, white actors that if any white actor that has had the string of success that Taraji's had, um, they wouldn't even be in the ballpark to getting paid what she's gotten paid. You know, just the baseline is something totally different. And you know, she could have been a better negotiator. It's a lot of things that could be true. But at the end of the day, when it comes to our people, they find ways to fuck them over. If they, even when the T's and the I's are dotted and T's are crossed, they'll create some new shit in that contract. And so we got to just know that that's also part of the game too. So because our people, everybody ain't crazy. That's what I'm saying. Everybody ain't crazy, and when it comes to their side of the game, everybody ain't smart.
Facts. That's facts. That's that whole "I'm white and I said so" of it all. Way back in the beginning of the space, I was talking about how they're talking about impeachment, and the math ain't mathin' with impeaching Joe Biden. Come on. It seems like you can be impeached for whatever they want to impeach you for. So if you're waving at imaginary people, like, that should be impeachable. Okay, that's just my original thought. Nobody's been able to move me off of that thought. I don't.
I forgot to bring up that part when he gave that fake handshake to somebody that wasn't standing there. When he fell off that bike, when it's Mitch McConnell, all these motherfuckers, that motherfucker Joe Biden died in front of us on camera like 7 different times. Like, what the fuck is going on here? I did want to get back to that, but I want to take it away from that. I want everybody else to speak before I even mention that part. But
No,
I'm
that's
glad.
real talk. I'm not ending this space before somebody lets me know at what point do you become a person that's a liability for us? Like, okay, it's not a crime to fall off a bike. It's not a crime to fall upstairs. But it is a crime to make us look stupid. Like, I, I'm not a Trump fan, but he was real brassy. Okay, he made us look stupid in other ways, I think, but at least he wasn't tripping over nothing. He wasn't waving at imaginary people. That's that part. That okay, when Mitch McConnell glitches, stop laughing. When Mitch McConnell glitches, I wasn't talking to y'all. it's very hard for me to actually have a serious conversation with this because this is where we are in 2023. Our president waves at people who aren't there. He salutes people who are not supposed to be saluted. And people are saying that we're not supposed to want him out. He shouldn't have ever been there. He said, I forgot that I was president. How? Nigga, what? Okay. If Obama had forgotten he was president, like,
And remember they was talking all kind of shit about Trump's sorry ass kids? Look at this shitty ass kid. Oh
I'm
my God.
saying, look, when I saw him took a bump on camera at the White House, like, at what
At the
point?
White House.
At
And,
what? Everybody saw, Dwan.
and,
Everybody saw.
and even deeper than that, his son's connections to Russia, his connections to Russia. When it comes to this whole Ukraine shit, what's really going on when you look at his son and his connections to Ukraine? Are you paying them off or are you giving them hush money? Which one is it?
Which
All
one
this
is it?
for
Look,
people who really pay attention to politics and get away from the dick sucking side of the game, or I'm blue no matter who. No, Joe Biden has a long history with them Ukrainian motherfuckers. And who the fuck, and also these small hats over there in this silly ass war going on in Palestine. Like, is this motherfucker paying to keep motherfucking TD Jake style ground and pound Diddy style pictures that did is he being blackballed? What's going on? Like, why is he giving all this money up? It has like, who does he owe? Who is what is he paying to hide? Anyone with a critical ear needs to be asking these questions. When we talk about mathing, nah, at that point, Eve, the math starts mathing. When you see how much money Joe Biden is dedicating to these other wars, okay, if it's to shut people up from other nefarious things him and his drug dealing sorry ass son has done, we already see how bad his shitty son is. The same son that fucked his brother's goddamn wife and everything. And what kind of shit did his son get him in when he was the senator from Delaware that he's paying back now as president? I wanted to get on that when you said it, but we went all the way on the acting part of the game. But again, let me back up. Let me let everybody else speak. But yeah,
no, that's real talk. And I appreciate the pause on that because originally this space was because I kept seeing the math ain't mathin' across all these different platforms. And I'm trying to figure out what's going on. I'm not saying that I came up with the math ain't mathin', but I am saying that I've been saying that for a minute. And then we put it on a hoodie. And then now I'm seeing it. Like, I'm seeing it everywhere. The Negro Black Knights Heritage. Peace, brother. Welcome to the stage.
Hey,
What's going
what's up, Jesse? That was the reason why I came up on the stage. I didn't like that somebody's. I felt like Taraji P was using your intellectual property. I wasn't feeling it. Don't bring your tears over here. That knows that it shows to me that she's in these black spaces when we talking about reparations. She probably the person that ain't saying nothing about it. So like, nah, those are crocodile tears to me. You should be crying the fact that we ain't getting no repair, no justice, and reparations. That's the reason why you behind the eight ball in this, as in Taraji P. Henson. So like, yeah, so she don't deserve to use that math ain't math and concept because she ain't really living that life. And that's how I kind of took it, and I was kind of offended by it. But that's just me though. I was really, really kind of taken back and upset about it because I look at it. This is this woman's intellectual property. This is this woman's stuff. You know, she the one who came up with it. I don't know what this woman did. She never talked about anything about black empowerment. This woman did. So I feel like all I see is that these celebs are up in our spaces, not supporting our issues and concerns, but they supporting everybody else's. So that's
Look,
how I kind of took the
that's real
situation.
talk. And I'm not, thank you, Negro Black Knights. Again, I'm not saying that I came up with the math ain't mathin'. I'm saying that I've been saying it. And Taraji saying it, I hear her. I hear you. You want your check to look a little different, but if you know the devil in the demon in the trunk, then I don't know, we got to get our negotiation skills up to par, and then I think that maybe that'll make more sense when you start saying the math ain't math. And I was completely offended by the Democrats using that, because no, the math absolutely maths. If somebody wants to impeach Joe Biden, that nigga needs to go. He needs to go yesterday. He should have never been in office. The When he was the vice president, that should have never happened. But now we're here at
That's
the
a
end of his
cracker, sister.
presidency. So, I guess, it's never too late to get something started. Peace to my brother Bear Arms. What's going on, James?
What's going on, sis? How you doing? My sister Just Eve, brother Dwan B. Your Lakers just lost. The niggas need to trade. They need to get rid of D'Angelo Russell. That's another subject. Shout out to everybody in the room right now. I haven't been on Spaces in a minute. I've been really busy with my company. Uh, got a lot going on. Been really busy in real life. It's that time of year. All of that. I just wanted to, great. This is a great space. Very productive conversation. But I just wanted to mention one of the things that I see, just like a little bit of, I think that like once you get leverage as an actor, you got to level up. This is another great example of why you have to have your own company. You can't get content and comfortable as an employee, regardless of what level it's at. If you notice, a lot of the actors, they start to level up and they start to get, y'all got to pay attention to those credits. You get you a company, you get your own company, and then you basically partner, because a lot of that money with those actors get, they get that check up front. So they're not getting those residuals, and you know what I'm saying? They're not getting that if you're not a part of production, if you're just talent, then once that movie blows up, like the Friday movie, for example, like some of them actors didn't make a whole lot of money, but it's like, okay, well, you use that, initially for notoriety to get in the game. You show your talent and stuff like that. But once you start to level up, then you create your company, and then you get your name, you get the name of your company and those credits. You partner, you basically put yourself as an employee and then work under your company. So you basically working for yourself. You get your deal. Will Smith got $7. I'm sorry, no Will Smith. What he's got? Westbrook and The Rock got $7. You know, even Wesley Snipes. He got Almond Raw Films now. You know what I mean? Like you see these the name of these people's companies in the opening credits of their movies. So now, when a movie blows, see the boxers got hip to this years ago. So a lot of these, because they do these events, so they do partnerships with these, with the events and stuff like that. Floyd with TMT and all of this different stuff. So the boxers been hip to it, but the actors have to do the same. You can't just be content being an actor and getting a check signed to you, even if it's a nice size check. You getting that in the front end, and the next thing you know, a movie blows up, and you ain't getting none of that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all keep seeing Fast and Furious blow up over and over again. Shit, Vin Diesel got a Vin Diesel's got like a huge, like he's got equity in that franchise. Hugh Jackman, not only Hugh Jackman had equity I think he owned the character of Wolverine or something like that. Y'all wonder why he had so many different reoccurring roles. You know what I'm saying? So you have to,
See, that fucks me up right there, because if he
yeah.
can own the character, but then you got Terrence Howard's character being owned by the Paramount, is that what y'all said? So then he
Yeah, that's
can't
crazy.
make any money off of his intellectual property, but then Hugh Jackman didn't make Wolverine. That's a whole creation that was outside of him. The math ain't
I
mathing,
I
y'all.
I I 100% agree with you. I 100% agree with you, and I know that I know like so I mean you just can't get comfortable being an employee. That's all I wanted to say. You have to have. It just makes sense, even at a small level. Like everybody should have an LLC. Go through the state, get your articles of incorporation, set up all your stuff. Shout out to MF Kush too. I missed MF Kush had a business space not too long ago, and I missed it because I've been really busy. I ain't really been on Twitter lately, but yeah, man. So that's kind of like that's something. But I do agree with you on that though. That kind of goes back to having the right people around you and negotiating and stuff like that, and kind of having that business savvy. It's you got to have a strong team too, because it's like I know it's difficult to be like talent and to be like everybody doesn't have a business acumen, especially for somebody that might be an actor. You know what I mean? Like, who the fuck is there? You can't be great at everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's why you have to have a strong team, um, and partner with these production companies when they're doing these films. That way, you're getting something out of it. Um, yeah, man, we just got to make sure we got our business together, family. We'd have been fucked in the music game so much, and the film game wouldn't be no different. If we continue to let it, like you see how Taraji, this is I don't understand it. We Monique said this happened to her. They basically got the same sentiments. So, yeah, man. But peace to you, Eve. I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yes, sir. Definitely. I don't know when the next meeting is, but you will definitely see me there. Because we're outside when the math doesn't math. Um, I think you guys should be too. I don't know. That's just my thought. Miriam, I see you came back to the stage. I am not going to end this night without us going into my thought about, or at least I wanted to get Devon's thoughts about the political side of the math ain't mathin'. But did you have some final thoughts, or did you have some follow up thoughts? Not you, Dewan. Miriam. Miriam before Dewan. Miriam, do you have some thoughts about that, or were you about to go into the politics side of things?
Just a teeny bit on the entertainment, and then I will segue into politics, and I'll be quick about it. As far as thank you, brother Ben Burr, for coming on and stating those things. That was very informative. Um, when you are dealing with the lifestyle, there's one thing between PC people and our own people. Um, Unless they have excessive amount of money, you're not going to see them unnecessarily splurging on a lot of materialistic things. They would better invest their monies into stocks and businesses and things of that nature, and marketing back. Like he said, Wolverine owns the likeness of the Marvel, for the movies that he were in for Wolverine. So if they make a toy concerning that movie, he's getting a percentage. He's getting a cut off of that. If they do a new comic book spinning off of the franchise in which he stars in, because it's his likeness and it's his role, he see his manager or himself, someone had the wherewithal as to include that in, that he get royalties in a percentage on his image, on his intellectual properties, on him putting into that. And that is where our brothers and sisters have to start moving more smoothly and swiftly, just like, Ray Charles did, just like James Brown did, just like Ella Fitzgerald. Some of our elders were very brilliant. Howling Wolf. They were like, no, you're gonna pay me this. This is what I want, and I need this, that, and the third or the other, and you better not be short on my money. They came in, honey, demanding. You don't come in meek. Nothing comes to the meek. You be a, I mean, it's a time for that, but you have to come in bold and you have to stand for something, because Hollywood eat people up, spit them out. And if you're gonna be a yes woman or a yes man, they are always gonna try to manipulate you and lowball you if you don't come in with a cockiness, a self awareness. You have to have a little bit of ego, not necessarily being narcissistic, but you definitely need a little bit of ego. You have to have that protection. You have to have that stand up and get right about yourself. Now, going into politics, Brother Dewan B, as well as yourself, Sister Eve, you hit upon some great facts. The facts that, you know, we as a people do need to start questioning everything. And when it comes to politics, knowing that our vote is for sale, we don't care if you're independent, a Democrat, or a Republican, green, whoever the hell you want to be, whatever color in the crayon box. You still have the same agendas and ideas. Unless that reflects upon what I need for myself, my family, and then, my lineage, my people, then, you know, not voting as a voice as well. And to ask questions about these politics because it is corrupt to high heaven. It stinks so badly. Anybody who is a little bit politically or savvy on politics would know the long standing that Biden as well as his son Hunter had. Um, I didn't do too much research as far as his one son that ended up dying. That was the military person. I know that after that death of his son, he took it really hard and he began to fail then. But him, Joe
I
Biden,
know that the one that's alive is banging was
that's
banging the
Hunter.
one that's dead's wife. And
Indeed, that's
that's
Hunter. He's
just
he's
they
banging his.
try to put that type of behavior on us, Miriam. They try to say that we do ratchet raunchy shit. And I don't know, that sounds like some ratchet raunchy shit to me. Like you're banging your brother's wife.
But you know
Okay.
what? Sister Eve, that goes along with, unfortunately, that's their culture. Remember, they believe in keeping their so-called bloodlines pure, and this is why you have the degeneracy flowing all through there, deterioration mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically,
Yes, exactly. I don't
retardation,
mean to
schizophrenia.
I
But
didn't mean to get your get your thoughts on their degeneracy, but god damn it, if that's just not some shit that they keep trying to that math doesn't math to me either. Across the board, the math ain't math in Miriam, and I
indeed,
think that they don't want us to look at them as the
exactly.
example. Go ahead.
Exactly. You know that that is what they do. They are the great deflectors. They while he's ushering and making America hemorrhage billions of dollars, giving it off to Ukraine as well as Israel, and a few other areas, some in Tokyo as well. Unfortunately, he's put up the big smoke screen and always pointing the finger at Trump and what Trump's family is doing. And I'm no Trump supporter as well. Like I said, what are you doing for me and my people? And then maybe I can consider you because I'll never trust you. I need to know what you could do for me and mine. But yeah, he needs to be brought up on crimes of humanity himself. Um, Even dealing with the jab and other things, but definitely they got some pictures on him. Allegedly they say that he likes the children. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for not
E,
saying too
eh,
much that's gonna get me all banned because YouTube already
E,
doesn't like me. Go ahead, Dwan.
I want to make one correction. I forgot because I was kind of in and out, but no, no actor owns the right to Wolverine. Disney owns Wolverine. These crackers ain't gonna let no goddamn actor own the right to shit when it comes to no character.
Well,
Like,
thank you for that because
yeah,
god damn it, if I was like, how in the hell do we
yeah.
lose like that?
Sometimes we as black folks can be real quick to think that white folks. No, no, no. Even racism is a real thing, but once we get to the top of racism, yeah, when you deal with the robber barons ain't gonna let no non-robber baron own shit. White, black, Mexican, Asian, you ain't gonna own shit the robber barons own. So yeah, no. Now he had Hugh Jackman make might get first right to play the movie. He gets to pick and choose because they love him and how he plays the character. But hell no. Disney owns the rights to Wolverine.
Yes.
Let's make that very clear. Disney owns the rights to Wolverine. They're not gonna when they bought those rights from Fox, they're not gonna buy those rights and be like, hey, you don't let that one actor over there own this one of the greatest characters that Stan Lee ever created. Not happening. Um, but but like we're going into to the political side of it. Um, when it comes to politics, we as a people, we got to see like when it comes to these politicians, what they say as far as like things adding up, and we see this whole when people go back and forth over whose side is better. If you notice, when you and both Miriam and people say things complimentary of Trump, it's almost like we have to say, "I'm not a Trump supporter." Why should we have to say that? Because if we're living in a politically savvy environment, we should all understand that we don't, I don't support any politician. I don't support any party. Which party is going to give me more of my agenda than the other? And my goddamn vote is going to go to who is giving me enough of what I want this time. And in 2 years, in 3 years, I might, 4 years, whenever the next election is, I might decide to vote differently depending on which way the wind is blowing. And so we shouldn't even have to preference anything by saying that. Second, when you were talking about Biden, it like I approach things as a concerned citizen. See me, I know a lot of us we're in black first spaces, and but there can just like any other environment, you can get into an echo chamber, and I ain't trying to be a part of nobody's echo chamber. And I don't give a fuck how it makes anybody feel. I'm not about nobody's echo chamber. One thing when it comes to politics, go to the rule book. Political science. Just read a political science book. Take that book and move accordingly, and use those philosophies for whatever your personal and your group agenda is. And when it comes to someone like Biden and him giving air handshakes and him falling and him saying he forgot he was president and him having raising shitty kids where all of them are on drugs and they have these crazy relationships with foreign countries. As a concerned tax-paying citizen, I pay taxes. I can trace my family roots back here to 1640. And so whenever the first taxes were levied in this nation, my bloodline was paying into that, whether it be through the colonies and when they revolted it during during the days of the Virginia colony and the Maryland colony and the Pennsylvania colony, my family was paying taxes on those fucking colonies. And now since it's been the United States, been paying taxes in this shit too. The tax-paying citizen who lives in a nation, no, I'm not going back to Africa, you fucking idiots. I live here. Yes, America has done a lot of wrong things to me, but I don't identify with what wrong they've done to me. I identify with the side that I've helped build and we created. That's great because that's just a part of the story too. I fucking love this country and I want this country to win on my terms. Yes, I do. I'm a motherfucking patriot. Not in a Republican way of patriot, not that way of patriot, in a way of knowing that I have pride in what I put money on and I 100,000 trillion% know I ain't moving nowhere else. I ain't moving to no fucking Africa. I ain't moving to Brazil. I ain't moving to the Caribbean. So since I know I ain't moving to Asia or Europe or none of them other places, I'm gonna sit my ass down, plant my flag, and make where I live be the kingdom I want it to be. And with that being said, I don't want a president that's a half dead, looking like a half dead liver spot representing this country in any way, shape, or form. Like it makes everyone look weak when your president look like he's 3 breaths from dying. That's a problem. That's a major problem. All these things Eve addressed when it came to possible impeachment. You know what I mean? It's what are you doing? What you bringing in? You see what's going on in Chicago? They all say, "What about Chicago?" Yeah, what about all those black citizens in Chicago saying you're taking up these former schools that we didn't want shut down 10 years ago, Obama. We didn't want those schools shut down. You shut them down anyway. Now they're migrant camps in black neighborhoods. The citizens of Chicago are saying we want to say on whether or not this is a sanctuary city, but the city council voted to not allow the people to have a vote in this quote unquote nation of the people. That's a problem as a tax-paying, concerned American citizen. And if you one of them niggas that's gonna come on later on talking about something, I don't care what's going on because I'm black. Well, shut the fuck up, nigga. I do care about where my taxes go. So when it comes down to it, that's an issue that we have to. That's a real life, tangible issue we have. Why do we have a president that sees this going on and he's allowing it to happen? New York, what's going on with them busting these migrants? Why is he? What's going on in Texas? And Texas has been allowed to bust and fly immigrants all across this country. How the fuck do immigrants have jobs and goddamn places to live when homelessness is in South Central? It was in downtown LA. In every goddamn major city out here, we have homelessness, and a disproportionate amount of that homeless is black. What is going on with a president that's allowing these tax-paying citizens to go through this, not get jobs, and still allowing this massive immigration while putting all this money in the hands of Israel and in the hands of Ukraine? That's how. Because I'm glad you started with that, Eve. Like what's going on with Israel and the Ukraine? Why is this happening? Why is this happening under my dime? That's a problem. And then on top of that, the motherfucker looked like he about to die. Hey, we gotta ask these goddamn questions. We shouldn't have to preference it in any way, shape, or form. We shouldn't have to apologize for saying this. I goddamn care about my country. This is where the fuck I live. I ain't moving. And yeah, I'm black, but also understand how this shit works. And I do have a voice. And we do have something to say when it comes to this. And it's high time we start speaking up for the betterment of all this shit and not being afraid to speak about it or use that convenient excuse of, well, they just don't like us anyway. No, 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 no. Going back to what we are talking about Taraji, half the issue is she's not asking for the right goddamn amount to begin with. Sometimes we not asking the right questions. We're not putting ourselves in the right positions to win. And asking these questions and make how Eve started this room on and on collecting receipts. That's also part of playing the system that we in. And we got to grow up as a people, as politically. We're very politically immature. Niggas is in their feelings. How does somebody make you feel? I was talking certain things. Just put up a political comment. I'm not even gonna get it. I'm not gonna get on the women because I'm not a woman. I'm gonna talk about the dudes. The first thing you'll do is get dudes, man. I don't like that nigga, or I ain't feeling, man, or that's not the kind of nigga I could be around. So what, nigga? Who the fuck cares who you can be around? Nigga, we handling business here. And you got these grown ass men crying about, nah, man, that's not the kind of dude I could be around. Nah, man, see them kind of, nah, man. See, nah. Fuck out of here. We got to grow the fuck up in a lot of ways. Go ahead, Eve.
That's real talk, Dwan. We are immature across a few different environments, and we could stand to learn a thing or two from the people that we've been competing against. Sometimes their I'm white and I say so doesn't really make sense until you think about the grand scheme of things, and the grand scheme is keeping us as a permanent underclass. So I'm white and I say so goes for the highest and the lowest. They are going to keep that standard. They're going to maintain that standard. Look, since we've been talking, it is 12:15 a.m. I'm on the East Coast. If you guys don't mind, if you're in the room right now, at whatever time it is on whatever coast or time zone that you're in. If you go to fairus.org, that's the Federation for American Immigration Reform, it's been 109 illegals have already crossed the damn borders. It's only 12:16 and 109 niggas have already crossed the damn borders. Like, what the fuck? That math ain't math into me, y'all. And I just don't understand how we can be here in 2023, where every day it's now 111 illegal niggas have crossed the borders since midnight my time. Now I don't know what time it is where you are. It might be like Tuan where it hasn't actually been the next day yet, but it's going to show something like 8,000 people, 8,000 plus people. Tuan, at some point, I don't know if you can confirm or not for me, but I think it's something like close to like 9,000 illegals a day.
Over here on the West Coast at night, it's as at 9:15. It says 8,695, 8,696
Yeah, see that
for today.
that's crazy. Every day, every day, almost 9,000 illegals are coming over here and we're spending real dollars. Y'all are all tax-paying citizens. I know that you're responsible American citizens. How do I know? Because you know that we're owed a debt and you can't be owed a debt if you haven't paid anything into it. That's why there's debt. Something's been paid, you haven't been paid for it. There was no quid pro quo. There was no exchange. It just you gave and you never got anything for it. That 119 people, it's 1217 and 119 illegals. I'm going to get off the site because it's kind of stressing me out. Please don't do that before you go to bed because after this phase, I'm going to go to bed. And at some point, I'm going to think that every minute it's like two illegals coming over here and we're paying for it. We pay for that shit because why? Because the Democrats that are in office right now have said that the math makes sense for us to be a permanent underclass. They're not going to pay us reparations because that math don't math. But 150 to 451 billion dollars can be spent on people who aren't even supposed to be here. Chicago's supposed to fight to exist because they want to replace them with people who are not supposed to be here. There are schools that, you know what math doesn't math to me? The schools that don't exist anymore because they're housing places for people who are not supposed to be here. So places where their test scores sucked, or the teachers weren't getting what they were supposed to get, or the students were just not where they were supposed to be. And then that school got shut down, but then money gets funneled in to house people who are not supposed to be here. Do you know that there are Democrats right now in your family, in my family too, who care more about these illegal children than they do about the children who are supposed to be here? That math doesn't math to me. But if you're not out here saying something about it, if you're not out here doing something about it, then to me, that says that the math makes sense to you. And shame on you. Because, like Dewan was just talking about, like all of us are responsible American citizens. We pay our taxes. We know that our money goes to places that are not necessarily where we want it to go, but we should have a say in where some of that money goes, right? $451 billion. Okay, maybe that's not the money you want to use. $113 billion to Ukraine. They're not even here. Okay, so let's not talk about the people who are not supposed to be here. That's money that those people aren't even here. What we're sending it away and saying that we can't afford to pay what's owed to the people who are supposed to be here. If that doesn't make you mad, I just don't know why you want to be around me because that type of math, it doesn't make sense to me. And I think we should do something about it. What should we do about it, Eve? I'm glad you asked because in my state, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, we have a reparations task force, but they don't even want to call it the reparations task force. This is what it's called. It's called the Commission to Study Slavery and Subsequent de jure and de facto racial and economic discrimination against African Americans. And that's just a bunch of, we're not necessarily talking about reparations, but we know that y'all niggas is talking about reparations. So let's try to get above and, let's try to curve it here. And when they start talking like that, well, the math is going to start not mathing again because while you're talking about what's owed to us, you're not talking about what's owed to us. It's just a study. How many states are just studying what they already know? That math doesn't math. Right now, our current administration is doing a bunch of things that don't make sense. But if you're cool with the different ties that they have with different nations that aren't us. If you're cool with the treason, because it's treason. If you're putting other nations above our nation, that's treason. And if you're cool with the treason, well, the math makes sense to you. But the math it doesn't math over here. And I think that once enough of us start doing the math, well, maybe we can do something about it. Devon, you have any final thoughts before I close it out tonight?
That's the biggest thing. Just when something doesn't make sense, be willing to investigate it, and or not, or don't investigate it. But when you're dealing with the people who do investigate things that don't add up, it's best just to listen and take from it. And if you don't agree, don't agree. We could all not agree on things. We could all be mature enough to disagree on certain things. But when it comes down to it, use your own brain, use your own mind. And when stuff doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. And we shouldn't apologize. We should never have to apologize for having an issue or taking issue with anything going on politically. And when it comes to acting, when it comes to people like Taraji P. Henson and what she's going through, I like using that stuff as a canvas, just to no, not to judge, because a lot of people want to take that shit and judge and say, okay, that's why this person is this and that person is that. No, I like taking that as an opportunity to look and say, okay, these are the potential issues, these are the problems, this is what happens, when this is what happens when, you don't negotiate properly. This is what happens when you don't pad in enough in your numbers for the 30% of your staff that you have to pay for. This is what happens. And so, use it as a case study to see what's going on and then learn from it and then apply it to our daily lives and whatever it is that we do. Because we can apply to what we see on whatever level that we're all existing on and leave it at that. You know what I mean? All that extra judging people, and also and we got to be accurate. You know what I mean? We got to be accurate with what we said. We can't be, just begin. There's no white person, no individual that owns Wolverine. They're owned by Disney. We got to get to the truth about what it is that we're discussing and make sure that we stick to what's real and then keep an open mind. And yeah, if it doesn't make sense, investigate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So to Brother Chris and the information. Look, like I said, I'm never gonna act like I'm the authority on things as much as I know and have thoughts on things. I am just Eve, but I'm learning. And as we've had the space, Hugh Jackman got $100 million for Wolverine and will probably get $100 million every time he plays Wolverine, if not more than that. His net worth is 180 million. The internet is the internet, so take it for what you want to take it for. But I do think that a bulk of his net worth comes from his portrayal of Wolverine,
And you know
and
what,
for
Eve?
that,
It shows how much money there is out there.
yeah,
And we're over here that much money these places make. And while we're over here criticizing Taraji, as we should on some levels, it shows you how criminal these motherfuckers are. They playing with that much money.
it really is. She's asking for 500,000. He's making 100 million. Like that. That that is a personal point. It's a sour note for me because sometimes you don't realize these lessons until you've had to experience these lessons. I don't know how y'all have done business, but I know that I've personally seen it. I've done it. We are the most giving people. Sometimes we're giving more than we should because we're not getting what we're supposed to get from it. But that goes back to your negotiation skills. If you're going to be a person who's going to continue to give, well, you can't be mad at the people who are going to take. That maths. You might not like it, but it makes sense. If you become a person who understands your value and your worth, and then you put a price on it, well, it's going to hurt sometimes if you have to walk away from it. But the people that you're doing business with are going to know that you mean business. And now we're in a situation where, are you it, or is there someone else? Because if there's someone else, well, maybe that math ain't mathin'. Maybe you're not worth what you were saying that you should be paid. But I think a lot of times we're cutting ourselves short. We're trying to go for the quick and easy and not necessarily what it's supposed to be. And if you are a person who bows out before the real negotiations start, well, now you're a person who accepts Black Lives Matter painted on the ground. You're a person who accepts Harriet Tubman being put on money versus the reparations that her descendants are owed. This this concept or this thought, it extends across a lot of different environments, and I think that it would benefit us to pay attention when we see it come up. So whether it's Taraji, whether it's Terrence Howard, whether it's, your local politician or somebody else, if things aren't making sense and we're not willing to do the research to understand why things are happening, well, they're going to continue to happen. And I think that that would be a self-inflicted wound. We're dealing with a self-inflicted wound, but it's not too late. We're having these conversations. I think that every day people are learning more about who we are, what we've done, and what we're owed. And when you know what you're owed, you can start to say, this is how much it costs. And then when you have enough of you saying that this is how much it costs, well, now you've got a union. But that's a whole other conversation for another day. Dewan, you have something else?
No, that was it.
Well, to the room, I appreciate y'all joining me tonight for this conversation on math. I hope you learned something. Sometimes I do this. This conversation will be uploaded on our YouTube at Just Eve B. Y'all have a good night. Black first.